I want to start today's deep dive with a number that usually signals a total crisis in the marketing world.
Oh, boy.
0.
Right.
Specifically, I'm talking about the concept of zero-click marketing.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like an absolute disaster scenario for anyone working in advertising.
Right.
Because if nobody clicks...
Nobody buys.
Exactly. Nobody buys. That's always been the traditional logic, right?
Right. We've spent the last, 20 years measuring success by engagement.
Clicks, views.
Time on page, bounce rates, all of that. But we have a stack of research here today that basically suggests the whole spray and pray era is dead.
Over.
Blasting ads at humans and just hoping for a click. It's officially dead. And the crazy part is, it wasn't killed by ad blockers.
No.
It wasn't privacy laws. It was killed by the simple fact that humans aren't really the ones doing the shopping anymore.
And that is the absolute crux of it.
Okay.
We are looking at a landmark research report released literally today, February 21, 2026.
Fresh off the presses.
Exactly. It's from the Niches Marketing Consulting Group, and it's titled The Shrine Strategy.
The Shrine Strategy.
Yeah. And the premise is, well, it's jarring. They argue that the entire global economy is undergoing the structural reshaping, where the target audience isn't you.
Right.
And it isn't me.
It's AI agents.
Correct. AI agents.
Oh.
And that single shift changes everything, from how products are priced to how they're even built in the first place.
So for you listening, this is the deep dive where we really have to accept that we might be the secondary characters in our own economy.
Yeah.
We're going to unpack how this completely shifts the fundamental laws of business. We're talking about rewriting the 4 Ps.
Quarters, 5 forces, too.
Yes, quarters, 5 forces. And we're going to explore this invisible buyer that is effectively ghosting traditional sales teams right now.
And crucially, we're going to look at the survival guide. Because if you can't sell to a human using, charm or emotion, how do you sell to a cold, logical algorithm?
Which is exactly where the Shrine Strategy comes in.
Right.
So let's get into the theoretical side first, because I think a lot of listeners might hear this and dismiss it as sci-fi.
Oh, for sure. They think it's 5 years away.
Exactly. But the report points straight to Peter Drucker and the classic 4 Ps of marketing: product, price, place, promotion.
MBA 101.
Literally the bedrock of modern capitalism.
It is. But the Niches report basically says, throw the textbook out, or rather feed it to an LLM and let it hallucinate something entirely new.
Let's walk through these because the changes aren't subtle at all. Let's start with product.
Okay, so historically, product meant mass production. You forecast demand, you build 50,000 widgets, you put them in a massive warehouse.
And you just pray you guess the right color for the season.
Exactly. Scale was the ultimate moat.
Yeah.
You could build more than the other guy, you won. But in an AI-driven economy, the report describes a shift to mass personalization.
And we aren't just talking about, like, stamping a monogram on a towel, right?
No. Or changing the color of a sneaker. We're talking about dynamic concepts. Because AI can analyze real-time feedback loops instantly, the product doesn't really exist in a fixed state until the demand triggers it.
Wait, so it's less of a static catalog and more of what? Like a recipe book?
Think of it like this.
Yeah.
You don't pick a product off a shelf anymore. You co-create the product with an algorithm in real time.
Wow.
The product is essentially just a set of parameters waiting for an AI to finalize them based on exactly what you need at that exact second.
That's wild. So the inventory is just digital potential until the sale happens.
Right.
Which brings us to price. And honestly, this is the one that actually unsettled me a bit. The report uses the term dynamic millisecond pricing.
Yeah, it's essentially high-frequency trading, but applied to everything: groceries, enterprise software, consulting hours.
Explain that for us, because usually I see a price tag, I pay it. Or maybe I dig around for a promo code if I'm feeling thrifty.
But that's the human model. It's slow. In the agent model, you're buying AI, let's say the bot that's legally authorized to restock your company's office supplies is talking directly to the seller's AI.
Yeah.
They aren't just reading a list price, they're negotiating.
They're haggling.
Relentlessly. And they're doing it based on real-time supply chain data, competitor pricing scans, and your specific budget limits.
And this whole negotiation happens in milliseconds?
Literally before the web page would even load for a human, the deal is already done. It completely destroys the concept of a fixed list price. Price is now a liquid variable.
That sounds incredibly efficient, but also just exhausting if you're a business trying to maintain margins. You can't just set your prices and forget about them.
No, you can't. It forces total efficiency. You can't hide your margin and opacity anymore because the buyer, the AI, knows your cost of goods, sold just as well as you do.
Which leads right into place. Traditionally, place is the store, right?
Mm-hmm.
The shelf, the retail distribution channel. If I can't get my product into Walmart or Amazon, I can't sell it.
Right. But now, the place is a digital interface. The report calls the AI the gatekeeper of choice.
The gatekeeper.
If your product data isn't structured so that an algorithm can parse it, categorize it, and rank it, you aren't just out of stock. You effectively do not exist in the marketplace.
So the shelf is just a database.
Effectively, yes. If the API can't read you, you aren't there.
Wow.
And finally, promotion, the final P. It shifts from broadcasting to what they call the marketer AI flywheel.
Okay, so what does that look like?
You aren't making shiny ads to distract people during their favorite TV show anymore. You're building loops where an AI predicts what is needed and generates the content to fill that need instantly.
It really feels like that whole creative Mad Men era, the 3-martini lunch and the catchy jingle is finally being buried for good.
It's a completely different game.
But the report doesn't stop at marketing. It goes much deeper into corporate strategy. It brings up Porter's 5 forces.
Right. And for those who might have skipped business school, this is the classic framework for understanding how competitive an industry is.
And the AI era shifts the power dynamics in all 5 of those categories pretty violently.
Extremely violently.
Let's break them down. Suppliers. In the 20th century, the supplier with the raw materials, the steel, the oil, the lumber, they had the power.
Right. But now, power rests with the underlying technology providers, the cloud platforms, the silicon chip manufacturers, the large language model developers.
The tech giants.
Exactly. If you're building a business in 2026, you are essentially paying rent to these giants. They are the new landlords of the economy.
That's the tax on the internet theory. You can't build a house without paying the guy who owns the land underneath it.
Exactly. But then look at the buyers. Usually, if suppliers have a ton of power, buyers have less. But here, buyer power has surged massively because of hyper-transparency.
Because my AI agent knows every single price globally in real time.
Yes. It destroys information asymmetry. You used to be able to overcharge a client because they didn't know that a factory in Vietnam could do it 20% cheaper. Now, their AI agent knows that in 0.4 seconds, it ruthlessly forces prices down.
That is fantastic for consumers, but absolutely terrifying if you're a middleman.
It wipes middlemen out entirely. And then you have new entrants. The barrier to entry has just collapsed. The report cites open source tools, specifically mentioning models hosted on Hugging Face.
Right, so I don't need $10 million in venture capital to start a tech company anymore. I basically need a laptop and a good prompt.
You can challenge a legacy Fortune 500 giant from your garage because the models themselves are effectively free or very, very cheap. The old moat of proprietary tech is completely drying up.
But the scariest force they mention is substitutes. Usually a substitute for coffee is tea, or a substitute for a car is a city bus.
Yeah.
Here, the substitute for your professional service firm is the AI itself.
That is the existential threat. If you sell basic data analysis, basic coding, copywriting, or even basic legal contract review, the AI isn't just a tool your competitor is using. The AI is the competitor.
Okay, so the chessboard has changed shape completely. The rules are totally different. But let's look at the actual player.
When you look at this slide, what's the first thing that jumps out at you? Static reports are basically an autopsy.
Exactly. By the time your monthly dashboard arrives, the patient is already dead. What we need is live diagnostics, and that's what real-time telemetry gives you.
Let's start on the left. This live PLC monitor isn't just plotting pretty sine waves.
Right. The AI is watching every phase of the signal and running predictive phase shift detection. It flags the moment the system is about to drift into a dangerous pattern, not after the failure hits.
So instead of asking, what went wrong last quarter, you're asking, what's about to go wrong in the next 5 minutes?
Exactly. And once the AI knows that, it doesn't wait for a meeting. It starts reallocating load, adjusting parameters, and stabilizing the system in real time.
On the right, we take the same idea up to the boardroom with a dynamic BCG matrix.
Every glowing trail is a product, a region, or a customer segment. As performance changes, AI moves them between stars, cash cows, question marks, and dogs, then triggers instant resource reallocation.
So strategy stops being a once-a-year offsite and becomes a continuous control loop.
That's the whole point. In an AI-driven economy, winning companies don't just look at data. They wire their business into real-time telemetry and let the system optimize itself, millisecond by millisecond.
Earlier, we mentioned the invisible buyer.
Yes. This is really the key concept anchoring the whole report.
The report claims that in B2B and high-end B2C, 80 to 90% of the evaluation work is done by machines before a human ever gets involved.
Staggering, isn't it?
80 to 90%. That is a massive number.
It is. Just think about the traditional sales funnel. Awareness, interest, desire, action.
Right.
You pour people into the top, you nurture them with drip emails, and you hope they eventually convert at the bottom.
And that funnel is just gone.
They've collapsed. Or rather, it's been gated. The AI is now standing at the very top of the funnel, like a bouncer at a really exclusive club.
Okay.
If you don't pass the algorithmic filter, you never even reach the human desire phase. You're just rejected silently.
Wow. The report actually breaks this down into 5 specific consumer roles.
Yeah.
Initiator, influencer, decider, buyer, and user.
Right.
I really want to drill into influencer, because when I hear that word, I immediately think of someone on TikTok holding an energy drink and doing a dance.
Yeah, the whole vibe economy.
Yeah.
But for this invisible buyer, the influencer is the AI agent itself. And let me tell you, it is not influenced by vibes. It doesn't care if your brand is perceived as cool. It is influenced by tech specs, latency, uptime guarantees, and price performance ratios. It uses cold, objective logic to rank products.
So you really can't charm a robot. You can't take it out to a steak dinner to close the deal.
No, you absolutely cannot. And that changes the decider role, too, because even if a human executive physically signs the check, the AI is the one providing the shortlist.
Right.
If the AI gives you 3 options out of a possible 1,000, who actually made the decision? The human who picked from the 3 or the algorithm that excluded the other 997?
That is an incredibly powerful point. The exclusion is the decision. If I never even see the other options, I literally can't choose them.
Precisely. And for the buyer role, the report introduces this acronym, A2A, agent to agent.
This is the machine-to-machine commerce we touched on earlier.
Yes. Protocols are being written right now where a buying agent talks directly to a selling agent, negotiates the terms of the contract, and executes the transaction, completely frictionless.
They mention a specific example of this infrastructure in the report, Moltbot, which I think was recently renamed to OpenClaw.
Right, OpenClaw. It's a major open source framework. And it's important because it's not just a simple chatbot. It's an entire ecosystem that breaks down complex tasks and routes them to specialist agents.
So if I'm a marketer trying to survive this, I'm not just trying to impress a generic Google search algorithm anymore. I'm trying to impress a complex ecosystem of agents like OpenClaw that are actively working to filter out my marketing noise.
Exactly. Your data needs to be flawlessly readable by that specific infrastructure. If OpenClaw can't parse your technical specs, you aren't even in the game. You are completely invisible.
This feels like hitting a brick wall. If I can't spray ads because the AI blocks them as spam, and I can't schmooze the buyer because the buyer is literally a piece of Python code, what is the strategy? How do you actually get in?
That is exactly where we pivot to the solution, the shrine strategy.
Okay, let's define this. What exactly is a shrine?
Well, if you accept that the downstream environment is just noise, social media, display ads, SEO, junk content, you have to go upstream.
To the source.
Yes. A shrine is defined as the absolute most authoritative platform for a specific industry vertical.
Give us some concrete examples. Where do these shrines actually exist?
For software engineers, it's GitHub. If a piece of code isn't on GitHub, it's treated as suspicious. For hardware manufacturers, it's those deep dive technical benchmark leaderboards where they stress test GPUs. For cloud security, it's the CSA, the Cloud Security Alliance.
So these are the places where the data is pure, where the real technical experts hang out.
Temple origin is the specific term the report uses.
Temple origin. It sounds almost religious.
It really is about trust. The AI agents are explicitly programmed to trust these sources above all else because they are rigorously verified by technical communities.
Okay.
The report uses a great visualization tool for this called the time lag mind map. Imagine a ripple effect in a pond.
Okay, I'm visualizing the ripples.
Time 0 is the shrine. Information hits GitHub or the CSA. It has the highest possible purity and the highest authority. This is where the AI crawlers actually live. They scan this continuously, looking for the newest updates.
So if you plant your flag at time 0, you get ingested by the AI immediately.
Correct. Then you have the first layer, The key opinion leaders, the experts, the industry analysts, they take the raw data from the shrine and interpret it.
And then the next ripple.
Then the second layer, the mass market. But by the time the information reaches the mass market, company blogs, LinkedIn posts, general news articles, it's already considered old data to the AI.
I see. So the strategy is clear. Don't market to the second layer. Market to the temple origin.
Exactly. If you're waiting for the mass market, you have already lost the game. You need to be right where the data is born.
But how do you practically do that? I can't just post a glossy marketing brochure on GitHub. They'd laugh me right off the platform.
No, and they absolutely should. You have to provide genuine technical value. The report mentions using big data to identify highest demand usage scenarios.
Meaning what exactly?
It means don't just list your product's features. Find the specific, painful technical problems that developers or power users are trying to solve right now.
Like troubleshooting.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, how do I fix error 503 on this specific legacy architecture? You post the exact, highly technical solution to that specific problem directly at the shrine.
Because that's exactly what the AI agent is searching for. It's asking, how do I fix X?
Yes. And if your content at the shrine answers how to fix X with high technical accuracy, the AI indexes you as the definitive solution.
Wow.
You bypass the ad blockers entirely because you aren't an ad, you're an answer.
It's almost like hacking the credibility chain itself. You aren't buying attention. You're earning citation.
That is a perfect way to put it, earning citation. You literally become part of the foundational knowledge base that the AI uses to make its purchasing decisions.
Okay, so we know where to go, the shrines. But the report raises a major practical issue in the final section. To do all of this, to analyze the big data, to find these hyper-specific usage scenarios, to engage with agents dynamically, companies need their own incredibly powerful AI infrastructure.
They do.
And here we hit the classic building the brain dilemma.
The eternal IT struggle, cloud versus on-premise.
Right, because cloud is your Google, your Microsoft, your OpenAI. It's incredibly smart, it's fast, it scales instantly. But do I really want to upload my company's proprietary trade secrets and customer data to a public cloud model?
That's the huge risk. Data leakage.
Yeah.
You absolutely do not want your competitive advantage accidentally becoming part of the public training data for everyone else.
But the alternative, doing it all on-premise, means buying your own massive GPU clusters, which is secure, sure, but it's wildly expensive, it's power-hungry, and it's a nightmare to maintain.
It really feels like a forced choice between total security and cutting-edge intelligence. Like, you can't have both.
But Nisha's marketing suggests the third way in this report, something called knowledge distillation.
Yes, this is their best of both worlds approach. And strategically, it's actually quite brilliant.
Walk us through how it works.
Think of it like a brilliant university professor and a really dedicated grad student. Step one, you use the teacher model. This is the massive cloud AI, the GPT-4 or Claude level intelligence. But you only feed it synthetic data.
Okay, synthetic data is key here. Break that down for the listener. What makes it synthetic?
It's essentially fake data that mathematically mirrors your real data perfectly. So if you're a major bank, you aren't uploading real customer transaction logs with names and account numbers.
Right, that would be a massive compliance violation.
Exactly. You're uploading simulated logs that have the exact same complex behavioral patterns, but absolutely zero real identifying information.
So the giant cloud brain crunches the complex numbers, finds the hidden patterns, learns the strategic lessons, but it never actually sees the actual corporate secrets.
Exactly. The teacher model learns the underlying logic. Then, step two, you take those newly learned insights, the distilled knowledge, and you mathematically transfer them down to a student model.
And the student model is local.
Yes. This is a much smaller, highly efficient local model running securely on your own internal servers.
So the local model gets incredibly smart simply because the massive cloud model taught it the answers.
Yes. You end up with a local AI that is highly specialized for your exact business context. It runs cheaply on your own hardware, and it is 100% secure behind your firewall. But it still possesses the wisdom and analytical power of the giant cloud model.
That's remarkably clever. It completely solves the privacy issue without forcing you to sacrifice any of the IQ points.
And crucially, it allows you to actually execute the shrine strategy. You use this hyper-smart local brain to constantly scan the industry shrines, find the emerging usage scenarios, and tailor your technical content at scale without ever exposing your internal corporate strategy to the public cloud.
So pulling this all together, we've gone from the death of the human click to the absolute rise of the machine agent.
We have.
We've seen the business school textbooks completely rewritten and the traditional sales funnel permanently gated by algorithms.
It is a fundamental structural shift from persuading human emotions to navigating complex data systems.
It's really not about catchy slogans anymore. It's entirely about metadata.
It is.
If you had to summarize the core strategic takeaway for, say, a CEO listening to this deep dive right now, or a marketing director who's frankly worried about their job with this, the ultimate takeaway.
I'd break it down into 3 mandates. First, redefine your audience immediately. If your buyer persona deck doesn't actively include an AI agent with specific technical parsing requirements, throw the deck out. You need to pivot to AI agent optimization today.
AI agent optimization.
Okay?
Second,
find your shrine. Where does the absolute technical truth live in your specific industry? If you aren't the verified authority in that specific place, you are just background noise everywhere else. You have to occupy the temple origin.
and the third mandate.
Don't get trapped in the binary cloud versus local debate. Use knowledge distillation. Be highly strategic about your infrastructure. You need top-tier intelligence, but you cannot compromise your data security.
It really feels like we are entering a period where business just becomes much more quiet. Yeah, less shouting on billboards and social media, and more silent data parsing in the background.
Absolutely. It's transitioning into an economy of pure precision.
Well, I want to leave you, the listener, with a final thought. Something the report touched on but didn't fully resolve for me. We've accepted today that the AI is the initiator. It suggests what we should buy.
Right.
And it's the influencer. It uses logic to tell us what's genuinely best.
It filters our entire commercial reality.
So at what point does the human consumer just become the logistics branch for the algorithm? I mean, if the AI agent picks the food, chooses the clothes, selects the software, and negotiates the final price, are we even the customer anymore?
That is the question of the decade. Who is actually in charge of the wallet?
Or are we just the user, simply executing the will of our own digital assistant? Definitely something to think about the next time you let your phone auto-suggest a reply for you. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive into the Shrine strategy.
Thanks for having me.